The African American Legend series highlights the accomplishments of blacks in areas as varied as politics, sports, aviation, business, entertainment, literature, and religion. We will explore how African Americans have succeeded in areas where they've been previously excluded because of segregation, racism, and lack of opportunity. I'm your host, Dr. Roscoe C. Brown, Jr., and with us today is Winston Majette, member of the Board of Directors of Harlem Week, the great Harlem Week which is going on right now. Welcome to African American Legends.
Thank you for having me today.
Well, Harlem Week is a legend. Harlem Week is a legend. Harlem is a legend known throughout the world. Tell us a little about the history of Harlem Week, which is now Harlem Month.
Well, it started off as one day in 1974. There was an unfortunate comment made by then President Gerald Ford on New York's social economics crisis that he wouldn't help New York at that time, and the quote in the paper was, "New York can drop dead." So as they say, if there's a problem in New York, it's a serious problem in Harlem. So community leaders in Harlem decided to get together and create a day out of respect for the residents of Harlem and the people who have come before and they will come after, and it created a festival, a one-day festival.
Mm-hmm. And Lloyd Williams, the president and CEO of the Greater Harlem Chamber of Commerce, was the moving force in that, along with Percy Sutton and Charlie Rangel, a lot of other good folks.
Absolutely. Our president, President Williams, he had vision for the next 100 years, so you can imagine we'll be back with Harlem Week.
Yeah, I remember Harlem Day. I was at New York University running the African American Institute. We participated in that.
Great.
And it was really quite an exciting day. You met everybody you ever knew, and you saw the arts and the culture and the music and so on.
Absolutely.
So now it's, then it gravitated to Harlem Week. Now, when did it gravitate to Harlem Week?
Well, it was a couple of decades later that it gravitated to Harlem Week, and we in turn turned it into Harlem Week Incorporated. Mm-hmm. But because of the response from the local community, national, international persons, they said, well, can we do more? So we are doing more. This year we started on July 31st, and we'll be going all the way up to September 12th with activities, approximately 119 events this year.
I recall that Harlem Day sort of grew like Topsy. It grew to 2 days, then it grew to 3 days,
yes.
And finally Lloyd says, well, let's have Harlem Week, and then after Harlem Week, it grew to the next week, and then we had the opening at Gracie Mansion, where the mayor, whoever the mayor was, welcomed Harlem, welcomed Harlem Week, and it really reflects the importance of Harlem in the world, in the nation's country, but of course in the world's culture. Mm-hmm. Now, how many visitors do you get during Harlem Week from other parts of the world?
Well, I'd say now about 33% of the visitors. So, I mean, that could be in a range of over 150,000 people that come through the upper Manhattan area in Harlem during the time that we have the Harlem Week Festival. Now,
you say it's you have 119 events?
Absolutely.
Now, tell us about some of those events.
Well, one of the new events that we've added to Harlem Week is the Hollywood in Harlem Film Festival, which we do in conjunction with Ebony Magazine. We get the opportunity to screen some very prestigious films that some of them may never, ever get to be seen anywhere else but during the Harlem Week Film Festival, and then they may transfer over to cable. Hopefully they'll all transfer over to feature films, and you'll get to see them at a theater near you.
Now, Ebony is celebrating its 50th anniversary.
Yes.
Quite honestly, I thought Ebony was older than that, but they say it's 50 years old. I've been reading it since I was in the military, or right after the military. And so they are sponsoring this Hollywood in Harlem.
Yes.
And one of the films that they are sponsoring is a film entitled Proud, yes, which was the late R.C. Davis's last film, yes, about the black sailors in World War II.
Yes.
And they also have an independent film about conditions in Sudan.
Yes. And
independent film about life in Harlem.
Yes.
So it's a very interesting and active way of getting the community involved. Now, $64,000 question. Are these film festivals free, or do they have to pay an admissions fee?
No, most of the Harlem Week events have no admission charge, so it's free to the public.
So it's first come, first served.
Yes.
So line up on the line and get there.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's really very, very. And they will be at the Apollo and at the Schomburg?
And Magic Johnson Theater,
And
yes.
Magic Johnson Theater. Very good.
Absolutely.
Now, you say you have 119 events. That's from A to Z.
Yes.
Now, without doing the alphabet, run down what classes of events you have.
Well, one of the events that is very close to us is the Economic Development Luncheon, Awards Luncheon, which will be on the 9th of August, and we'll be having that at Columbia University. And at that time, we'll be bringing together small business, medium businesses, and large businesses that have economic development projects going on in the Upper Manhattan area, housing projects that are going on in the Upper Manhattan area. And as many people are seeing, many businesses are coming to Harlem, and a lot of headquarters are coming now to Harlem and the Upper Manhattan area. And we'll be discussing who's there now and who's coming in the future.
Well, is this an exhibition where different groups are able to show what kind of products they have, or is it an educational forum, or is it a celebration, or is it all of those things?
It's actually all of the above. There will be exhibitors talking about new hotels that are coming, new organizations who are opening up headquarters there, new housing developments that are going to be opening up in Harlem and the Upper Manhattan area, and there'll also be a panel discussion, and we'll have a celebration at lunch of what the history is of Harlem socially and economically and what it will be in the future.
Are you doing with the Greater Harlem Real Estate Board?
Yes, we are.
Now, and this is at Columbia at the Business School?
This will actually be at the Low Library.
At the Low Library?
Yes.
And for those people who are watching...
I'm sorry. I'm so old now. I was remembering Ferris Booth Hall on 116th Street, and it's changed over. So some people who are old like me may remember the old Ferris Booth Hall, which is on 116th Street in Broadway.
And how do people get there? Do they have to pay an admission? They have to respond?
It's no admission, but they do have to call me at the office at 212-862.
Okay, give that number slowly.
212-862-7200, extension 234.
And ask for Winston Majette.
Ask for Winston
so they can
Majette.
sign up
Yes.
to attend and also to participate. I imagine
Yes.
there must be booths or exhibit tables
Yes.
where the various exhibitors can talk about what they're doing.
Absolutely.
Now, is
probably
the
have 15 to
empowerment
20.
zone involved in this?
Absolutely. UMEDS has always been a great partner with us. They'll actually be sitting on the dais, and they'll be a panelist, and they'll be talking about other projects that are coming up in the future.
Who are some of your major panelists?
Right now, Senator David Patterson, of course, our chairman, Lloyd Williams. We have various corporate heads who are heading up hotels that are coming, such as the Marriott, which is coming soon. We're talking also to Starwood about being a panelist at that particular event. They intend on trying to come up to Harlem and have a brand property there as well.
Who is that? What company was that?
Starwood Hotels, which
Okay.
has the Sheraton and the W's. We also have Harlem Hospital, which is expanding the development of Harlem Hospital in a very near future. So we'll have Harlem Hospital represented there as well. So it'll be a great event for everyone.
So we've talked about movies, we've talked about economic development, and principally the motivation behind Harlem Week is to let the general public know that the people in Harlem have pride about their community,
Yes.
but also I would assume it's so that they would know there's economic opportunity in Harlem.
Yes.
So how do you make that rapprochement between the economic opportunity and the cultural celebration?
Well, one of the things we're most proud of is that every year we increase with our exhibitor and vendors. So we have opportunities for businesses not only in the Harlem area but nationally to come up and vend or exhibit their products and services during Harlem Week. And they can also contact my office about that. And what that has done, it has taken small businesses to another level of exposure because, as you said earlier, our audience is an international audience that comes to Harlem Week. So At one time when only the locals knew about Sylvia's restaurant, now when we fly to Los Angeles on Delta Airline, which is one of our sponsors, we can see the commercial about Sylvia's and not feel so homesick because she's known now all over the world.
That's certainly the case. But in terms of the local businesses, how do they benefit from Harlem Week?
Well, many of those businesses, if one looks into our calendar of events, are promoted with other things that they do. A lot of our restaurants and nightclubs are promoted
You
throughout
give an
the
example.
summer. For instance, Londell Supper Club. Londell Supper Club is featured as one of our dining facilities to dine throughout the summer and beyond. Once the summer is over, for a lot of folk who leave New York during the summer and they come back in the fall and they start with family reunions and such, and they say, hey, I remember Harlem Week was promoting Londell Supper Club. And one of the events that we do during Harlem Week also is a one-day event called Joints of Jumping, where we select 8 different restaurants or local nightclubs, and we have live music, and we have free hors d'oeuvres, and we have sampling of products, and people come out and they get to go to all the joints in one night via our jitney buses.
Is that where you have a bus or some
Yes.
conveyance that takes people from one club to the next club and so on?
Yes. So at that time, we also try and give a history of Harlem on the bus and the tour of Harlem, and the other businesses are there, and some of the great people who some of those streets are named after, like Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Frederick Douglass, Adam Clayton Powell Jr., and the things that people are doing in the community, locally and nationally, and what's coming in the future. So that's been a really productive and promotional event for us.
Well, what are some of the other places other than Londell's you take folks to on the Harlem night to join us jumping?
Terrace in the Sky is very popular.
Now, where is that?
That's on Columbia University's campus on 119th Street between Amsterdam Avenue and Morningside Heights. And that has one of the greatest panoramic views of Harlem in the day or the evening, and we do a celebration of Joints of Jumping there. Sylvia's, as I mentioned earlier, has always been a great part of that. The famous Lenox Lounge has been a part of that. Some of our new restaurants, such as Mobe's, which is a Caribbean restaurant on 125th Street near Madison Avenue. And they all benefit from the opportunity to get to serve not only the Harlem residents, but the country and the international audience.
Again, if the audience wants to know where these places are located and when it occurred, how do they get that information?
They can also check our website, and they can go to www.harlemdiscover.com.
Okay, let's say that again.
www.harlemdiscover.com.
Okay, that and the various events are listed on the website.
Yes.
And I know that the New York Times ran a supplement last week about Harlem Celebrates.
Yes.
And they focused on Harlem Week and the various historical and cultural aspects of Harlem.
Yes.
So we've done economic development, we've done films, we've done eating. What about dance? Did we do anything about dance in Harlem Week?
Well, we always do some dancing. On a great day in Harlem, we feature...
Now tell us about a great day in Harlem, because I know what it is, but a lot of folks don't even know Great Day in Harlem. Tell us about that.
A great day in Harlem is the first day of the Harlem Week Festival, and at that time we go to Grant's Tomb on 122nd Street and Riverside Drive, and we do a 3-part event. The first day is Family Unity Day, where vendors and exhibitors come out and show their wares and services, and we have food vendors out, and people come to reunite. They usually go to 8 o'clock service, so they could get back home and change clothes and bring out their chairs and come together and listen to a lot of local musicians and artists. Then we go into one of our favorite events, which is the Fashion Flavor Show, which is a 1-hour show showcasing urban designers and the wares that they'll be having for the upcoming season. And then the third component is our Concert Under the Stars, which this year we're honoring the great late Mr. Luther Vandross and the great music that he brought to us, and the understanding that love music is forever.
Okay, so you started with this Great Day in Harlem. Now, at one time there was a photograph of all the prominent jazz musicians.
Yes.
About 40 years ago.
Yes.
And the title of that picture is A Great Day in Harlem. Now, the Great Day in Harlem there dealt with jazz music. Yours deals with culture and dance and music. Do you have any particular event that focuses just on some good old rock and roll, jazz, gospel, blues?
I would say Joints a Jumpin' would really be that day.
Mm-hmm.
It's a huge focus on the eclectic music that has been known throughout the world and usually resonates from Harlem. So I would say that day, and then on Uptown Saturday Night and Harlem Day, August 20th and 21st, we have a series of concerts and we feature music.
Well, tell us again about Uptown Saturday Night and Harlem Day.
Uptown Saturday Night will be Saturday, August 20th. And that's been a day when folks usually try and get off work a little early on Friday so they can get prepared for that long day of cultural activities, song and dance, and many vendors come out. We also have a New York City Health Expo that's closer to 135th Street in Lenox, and as you go all the way down to St. Nicholas Avenue, you'll see one of our featured concert stages. And the Harlem YMCA has been great with giving us education material for youth and seniors on health and screenings and testings.
Now, 125th Street is the street where you get off when you take the A train. That's Duke Ellington, and that's the main boulevard of Harlem. Yet Harlem Day occupies 135th Street. Now, what's the significance of that, and why did you choose 135th rather than 125th?
Well, earlier on, 125th Street used to be a thoroughfare for Harlem Week. And then we moved to 135th Street because we saw, and again, our chairman, Mr. Williams, has great vision. He saw that 135th Street will be the next equally powerful thoroughfare for people coming in and out the city and Harlem development. So we chose to create the future instead of letting the future come to us. So we moved over to 135th Street and we started to create excitement about what was being built there. As you know now, we have a condominium there.
By the we, who's the we?
The Greater Harlem Chamber of Commerce in the community of Harlem.
Mm-hmm.
And it's called Strivers Gardens on 135th Street and Frederick Douglass Boulevard. It just opened up this year. It's a fantastic complex. It's one of the first complexes of its kind. It's been built there in over 50 years. Further down, as you go down to Adam Clayton Powell Jr. Boulevard, we have a brand new high school that has been built and has its own building, which is the Thurgood Marshall Academy there, and that's one of the first high schools that has been built in
Now,
Harlem.
the Thurgood Marshall Academy is sponsored by Abyssinia Baptist Church, is it not?
Yes, the Abyssinian Baptist Development Corps. And
all right, now,
fantastic.
we're moving right through Harlem Week. We haven't covered 119 events, but we covered a lot of them.
Absolutely.
Now, when you get to the culmination, what is your culminating event?
I would say after the Tri-State Black College Reunion, the Black College Fair.
Tell us about the
Children's
Black College
Festival.
Reunion, then we'll come to the culminating event.
The Tri-State Black College Reunion will be Thursday, August 18th this year, and at that time we'll be honoring 3 college presidents with our Guardian of Our Legacy Awards. This will be our 5th year doing that event, and this year we'll be honoring Virginia Union University, Virginia State University, and Winston-Salem State University. And what we honor them for is not only the work that they do locally in their college community, but the work that they do nationally and internationally in educating young people and making people aware of the efforts that historical black colleges and universities have provided for over 100 and so years.
Well, is the main purpose of this to get kids from New York to go to the historically black colleges?
Absolutely.
Or is it to celebrate the legacy of the historically black colleges? Because at one time, almost 90% of black youth all over the country went to historically black colleges. Now only about 25 or 30% go to historically black colleges. So what is your role here? Is it celebrating historically black colleges, or is it trying to motivate some of our youth to attend those colleges?
It's both, Dr. Brown. We always like to celebrate our history. So in celebrating the historical black colleges and universities, that gives us an opportunity to promote to some of the younger generation what they are and what they stood for, as you say, because at one point that was the only college or university they can go to was a black college. And as you know, Tuskegee institute, now Tuskegee University, has done a wealth to advance itself in science and technology, and it's got new contracts from the U.S. government to advance itself in what the government is going to need in terms of scientists for the future. So, so many colleges, Morehouse, North Carolina Central University, North Carolina A&T, Spelman, Clark Atlanta, have been so visible now because we've done the Tri-State Black College Reunion in the last 5 years. In the last 14 years, the National Historic Black College Fair and Job Expo, which is on Harlem Day, across from the Children's Festival.
Now, when you say National Black Colleges, you're not only talking about the United Negro College Fund colleges, which are private, but some of the state colleges which were segregated, yes, many of which are now predominantly white. So how do you deal with that?
Well, what we're finding is, such in the case of my alma mater, North Carolina Central University, it has one of the top, it's a public school, it has one of the top law schools in the country, and it's graduated such alumnus as Attorney Willie Gary down in Florida, who's well known and been in the practice a very long time. And what happens is a quality education is always available at a historical black college and university. So when a family sees that a quality education can be gotten from a school such as Central's Law School, you may do undergrad at Duke, but you know the quality of the lawyers that we've put out at North Carolina Central University, and it's a good choice for you.
Now, will all of those colleges be represented on your Black College Day, or just some of them?
About 3/4, about 60 of them will be represented at that time. One of the fortunate things is that black colleges start school early. Mm-hmm. So actually the next day, that Monday after Harlem Day on the 21st, a lot of the students go back to school, or they start school for the first time. So some of the admissions officers just send their information ahead of time, and we have all of the schools represented, as you said, through United Negro College Fund and other exhibitors, where we have information on all the black colleges and universities.
Are you going to have the marching band from Hampton and Morgan? I know on African American Celebration Day, the bands come up in March. Are you guys going to have any bands up here?
Well, I usually get a lot of band members. They get geared up and they participate, and sometimes I hear on the left it may be Norfolk State, who has a great band performing on the stage, or it may be the marching band of FAMU, another great band, and these guys come out and perform because the tradition has always been there.
And this will be on 135th Street as well?
Yes, between 5th Avenue and St. Nicholas Avenue on August 21st.
All right, now we've gotten to the culminating event. We've done about 115 events, so let's get to the culminating event now.
Our culminating event is the end of Harlem Week. It's called our Harlem Week Gala, and it's our National Black Sports and Entertainment Hall of Fame, which is on August 30th this year at Aaron Davis Hall at the City College of New York. It's a fantastic event. It culminates all that we've done that year for Harlem Week, and it also celebrates the induction of 24 persons in sports and entertainment.
24? That's a lot of people to be inducted into a Hall of Fame. I know you can't name all 24, but give us a sampling of those folks.
Well, one such person is going to be Marian Anderson, the great opera singer.
Well, some will be posthumous, I guess.
Yes, yes. One thing that's very, very close to me, two groups that are going to be honored is the CIAA, the Central Intercollegiate Athletic Association, which is the oldest black athletic association in the country, will be honored, and one of our oldest black college football classics, the Bayou Classic, will be honored as well.
Who's going to represent the CIAA?
That's going to be the commissioner. But as you know, some of our great alumni, such as Earl Monroe from Winston-Salem State University, I'm sure he'll find a role there for him, and we'll have him up there as well. And Ebony Magazine has been very close to us as they serve as a co-sponsor to CIAA, so I'm sure they'll have a representative there.
Yeah, the legendary Clarence Big House Gaines, who was at Winston-Salem State for many, many years, I think was honored in the Sports Hall of Fame.
One of the first years. One of the first years. And it was sad to see him go, but I was glad to be in school when he was a coach and we played against him at Winston-Salem State, because you learn so much from great people, and he was one of the great persons.
Okay, who else? Very quickly, who else might be going in there?
Merle Otley, terrific Olympic Jamaican track and field star. Oof.
Well, you got
That's such a
24,
BB.
so you got a lot of people. Anybody from the Harlem community?
Yes, actually, the great community activist and communicator of radio, Mr. Gary Bird of WBLS Radio is being honored, which is fantastic event. Also, we're looking at Mr. Danny Glover, actor and community activist as well. And please check our website because there's so much more.
Could you repeat that and come to the close of the program? Give the phone number and the website again, please.
Absolutely. The website is www.harlemdiscover.com, and the phone number is 212-862-7200, and you can call me at extension 234.
Okay, today we've been talking about the joys and the history and the celebration of Harlem as reflected in Harlem Week, which is organized by the Greater Harlem Chamber of Commerce with its president, Lloyd Williams. And today we're talking with board member Winston Majette. And we found that there's plenty to do in Harlem. So it'll be uptown Saturday night, Sunday night, and every other night in the week for 119 events. Thanks to Winston Majette for being with us on today's African American Legends.
Thanks.